It has been a few months now since the release of Genshin Impact, and all kinds of opinions about Keqing have been formed. Some people love her, some people hate her, some will say that she is an amazing character, others will say that she deals no damage. There are thousands of discussions about what is better, electro or physical. Which artifact set is the best, Thundershoe there or Gladiators with Thundering Fury, or some other combination? Which weapon is the best? For which type of build? In this video, I will try to answer some of these questions. Personally, I love Keqing, being her one of my main DPS. But I also want the answers to these questions. So, we are going to code a Python program and hopefully find the truth. The idea is to build a Monte Carlo simulation which will tell us how much damage a particular build can output. We will code a class to describe Keqing abilities, classes to describe weapons and weapon effects, and classes to describe artifact sets, including sets bonuses. The next step then, is to generate thousands of artifact combinations, and generate thousands of different builds. Then, for each of these combinations, we will generate thousands of battle scenarios, which will take care of simulating the damage of each hit of the skill, and whether or not this were critical hits. For each of these battle scenarios, we will add up every damage instance, and find out the total damage of each scenario. With all this data, we can then extract the damage distribution of the build, and finally, we can compare each of these builds, to find out the answer to our questions. A bit of a disclaimer, we will be taking the damage numbers of talent level 6, and we will be using tier 2 artifact upgrades, which means that the actual value of the numbers might be lower or higher depending on how much investment you put into these talents, or if you have enough luck to get maximum rolls in your artifacts. So, let's start by discussing the performance of the Electro Keqing builds. In this case we are going to be maximizing Keqing's ultimate damage, which consists on an initial instance of damage, 8 consecutive slashes, and a final hit. According to the simulations, it seems that the best possible build for Keqing would be achieved using the new Primordial Jade Cutter. The fact that this weapon has critical rate as substat, enables us to achieve very high values of critical rate, and also focus on other stats, such as attack percentage or critical damage, and even look for advantages increasing the HP for that extra bonus damage, making the critical hits more powerful and consistent. The Summit Shaper is next in line, followed by Lion's Roar and Black Sword, both of these last weapons outputting a very similar amount of damage. As far as physical Keqing is concerned, the same argument applies, and the Primordial Jade Cutter comes also on top. This makes the new Primordial Jade Cutter the best slot weapon for Keqing. The next in line in the physical case would be Summit Shaper, followed by Aquila Livonia, Lion's Roar and Black Sword. Now, to answer the question about which is better, physical or electro, we will simulate a combat scenario where, in the case of Electro Keqing, she will be performing, in order, her ultimate ability, elemental skill with double activation, and charged attacks until stamina depletion. For the case of physical Keqing, she will perform her ultimate, elemental skill with charged attack activation, in order to not trigger the electro infusion, and charged attacks until stamina depletion. These are the results. In terms of DPS, the winner seems to be Electro Keqing with Primordial Jade Cutter, followed by Physical Jade Cutter and Electro Summit Shaper. With optimized builds, Electro Black Sword, Electro Lion's Roar, Physical Summit Shaper and Physical Aquila Livonia, deal a very similar amount of damage, the difference being that the electro weapons are a bit easier to get. As for artifact sets, in every case, physical or electro, the winner is always the Thundersoother set, which with the 4 set bonus, will increase damage by 35% to enemies afflicted by electro. This is important to remind, since otherwise the damage output will drop significantly. To summarize, we have performed a Monte Carlo style simulation in order to find the optimal build for Keqing, depending on the used weapon. finding that Electro Keqing is the most powerful version. After that, either Electro with Summit Shaper or Physical with the new Jade Cutter will provide a very similar damage output. For budget builds, it would be recommended to go for Black Sword or Lion's Roar if possible. If you do not own any of these weapons, Black Cliff, Flute or Anchor are also good options, with varying priority depending on the style of the build. For a completely free-to-play experience, Prototype Anchor provides a very decent amount of damage, especially in the case of physical Keqing. Whatever your options are, the tables shown in the videos should help you find the correct ratios between critical rate, critical damage, and attack, needed to make the build perform optimally. As for the optimal artifact set bonus, Thunder Soother seems to be the king in every case. Just remember the electro-elemental application to the target. I hope you guys have found this video useful, and I hope it helps you on finding your most optimal build with the resources that you personally might have. Remember that Genshin Impact is not a competition, and this video should not lead anyone to spend money unnecessarily. The only objective should be to have fun and enjoy your time. So yeah, have fun, and see you on the next video.